right, then the one other little mini announcement is we've done a lot of the legwork to finally get us to this point where now our Cloud Posse packages are updating every single night automatically, opening a pull request with a pull request for each package that changes. So here you can see in the recently closed history here that we upgraded CodeFresh automatically to 0.738, GitHub release to 0.9.0. We open up one of these changes and it has all the metadata of that package update. And the tests were automatically kicked off, and then using Mergify, we're automatically merging that pull request. We're automatically approving it, and then I'm automatically merging it once it has approval. So that's working out pretty nicely. The configuration that we're using for Mergify, if you want to take a look at how we did that, is if you go to Cloud Posse packages, and in the GitHub directory, there's a Mergify config here. I'll share that in the channel. And all the conditions are and, not or. So all of these need to be true. So when the Alpine package succeeds, the Debian package succeeds, the Docker image build succeeds, we're merging to master and the author's Cloud Posse bot, and it's an auto update branch, then we will automatically approve it with a message. And then once it's been approved and all these conditions are satisfied, then we actually do a squash merge and release it. So that's distributed out to our package repository host, hosted by Cloudsmith. That's cloudsmith.io. And really digging this flow. So one of the next things that we'll be working on is our RPM packages. So we support Debian, RPM, and Alpine packages for all the cloud tools that we rely on. And what's also rad is now that means that you can pretty much rely on that as soon as the origin GitHub repository has a new release and a package available, that our packages should have it. There's a couple exceptions. Some of our version pinned packages like these, we are temporarily not automatically updating them, but that's just a shortcoming of our process, and I'm going to be fixing that. So these are also updated. The corresponding kubectl command will always be the latest version. Andrew Roth asked, now this was frankly a few weeks ago or more, if anybody's using a bot to do automatic merging, and well, yes, now we are. It's taken us a long time to get there. So if you take a look at Andrew at Mergify, that's what we're using. It can get pretty pricey if you are doing it on private repos, but for open source, it's a brain dead simple solution to go for it. So the first thing we tried when doing automatic merging was using GitHub Actions, and it proved to be very complicated to use GitHub Actions to do automatic merging. And the reason is that GitHub has a lot of checks and balances in place to ensure you don't create like PRs, or you don't create webhook storms in GitHub Actions where one pull request then triggers this event that triggers that event that creates a cycle, and now you just explode the GitHub cloud. So when you have GitHub Actions that cut releases, and then after that release, you maybe want to do a Docker build, that's actually kind of tricky. You have to make sure you're using different tokens for those events, different personal access tokens. And much the same thing, when you want to do automatic merging, you want to wait until the checks pass, but sometimes you don't know how many checks there are to know when is it passed. So using Mergify just made a lot more sense in the end for this.
So if you have a relatively lower risk project, you can just tell Mergify, if all the checks pass, go ahead and merge it. Like, is that what?
It supports a really rich system of checks. These are all the attributes you can check. You can check the assignee, who approved it, or the number of people that approved it. You can do regexes on all of these things, or straight matches. You can compare the branches, content of the body. You can ensure that there are no conflicts. Check what, only trigger when when it's certain files that were modified. So what we did were two things. So one was that we,
You're only using it for your Linux packages right now?
Yeah, this was like the test bed to get it working. And let me be honest that I had a lot of failed PRs in doing this. We opened up a lot of bad PRs and merged a lot of bad PRs at first because I didn't have all the checks right. One of the things we did was we updated code owners. So when you modify the Mergify configuration, Cloud Posse admins have to sign off on it. So that means you can't, some rogue person can't change how we merge things. But then we also had to add Mergify as one of the approved reviewers for what we're doing. So yeah, so then, and then we had, you saw, I don't know if you saw earlier, I showed the config. We have a lot of constraints put in this file. So it's pretty narrow who can do it. One of the most narrow things we have here is just, it has to originate from our bot user. And then it has to originate from a branch of a special convention.
Got it. Yeah, it's cool. I've been doing a bunch of work with code owners for my company's open source org now. It's great. We set up so I set up we have like 4 Terraform modules, and I set up one pipeline in CodeFresh that covers all 4 of them. And it's SAIC-OSS.
Yeah.
And so I made a team called like compliance, and said the compliance team is the code owner of the pre-commit config file, the task file, and the .github folder. And that way, the one pipeline can just run a Go task, but the Go task can have anything you want in it. So I can say Go task validate, or I can say task validate, and then whatever validations we want to do for that one project, it can do. And then we're, controlling that still by having the compliance team be the code owner of the task file. So, anyone can make a change to the task file and put a PR in, but the compliance team has to check off on it. So I really liked that. And it's something we never were able to get anywhere even close to in GitLab.
Yeah. And I think you did that the right way. I think that's a great way to organize it and have that compliance team responsible for signing off on those changes for those specific files.
One thing I want to point out, because it trips a lot of people up, and it tripped us up here in the code owners file that Eric showed you. Unlike a lot of configuration files where the first match wins, code owners, the last match wins. So any global entry needs to be the first entry in the list. Otherwise, all the other entries don't do anything.
Yeah.
So it looks like I need to fix something there then?
Yes.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. All right, we'll make sure to get that. So what Jeremy's saying here is that this rule here now supersedes this rule here.
Let's say you set your branch protection to require 1 approval.
Yeah.
Right? But a file has a code owner for 3 different people or 3 different teams or whatever. It's like, I want the compliance team to be the code owner of that. I also want, the engineering team to be the code owner of that. Even though the branch protection is only 1 review, it's okay, when 1 review is made and it's approved, then you can merge. If there's 3 code owners, you need 3 reviews from all from each of the 3. You need 1 from each of the 3 code owners.
That's true.
And I thought that was great too.